fire Comey.
I want to ask you a direct question. Does the president think that Rod Rosenstein has done anything wrong?
The president has never said anything about Rod Rosenstein doing anything wrong. Here's what is the legal situation here. There is a constitutional issue when you have this scenario. The president made a determination based on consultative advice. He decided ultimately, he's the commander-in-chief, he gets to make that decision, that James Comey had to go. That was coming, by the way, from groups right, left, and center over the last year. You and I know that. So there's been concern about James Comey. It was put forward in a memorandum, that's what the president's referencing, from the Deputy Attorney General and the Attorney General requesting the removal of James Comey as the FBI director. And ultimately, that's the president's determination. So here's the constitutional threshold question, Chris. The president takes action based on numerous events, including recommendations from his attorney general and the deputy attorney general's office. He takes the action that they also, by the way, recommended, and now he's being investigated by the Department of Justice because the special counsel, under the special counsel regulations, reports still to the Department of Justice, not an independent counsel. So he's being investigated for taking the action that the attorney general and deputy attorney general recommended him to take by the agency who recommended the termination. So that's the constitutional threshold question here. That's why, as I said, no investigation.
What's the question? I mean, you've stated some facts. First of all, you've now said that he is being investigated after saying that you didn't.
No.
You just said,
he's
sir,
not being investigated.
You just said that he's being investigated.
No, Chris, I said that let me be crystal clear so you completely understand. We have not received, nor are we aware of any investigation of the President of the United States.
Sir, you just said
period.
2 times that he's being investigated.
No. The context of the tweet, I just gave you the legal theory, Chris, of how the Constitution works. If, in fact, it was correct that the President was being investigated, he would be investigating for taking action that an agency told him to take. So that is protected under the Constitution as his Article I power. That's all I said. So I appreciate you trying to rephrase it, but I'm just being really direct with you,
sir,
here,
I didn't rephrase it. The tape will speak. Jay, the tape will speak for itself. You said he is being investigated, and it's not
Chris,
just being. Wait a minute, Jay. And it's not Jay. It's not just being investigated for firing Comey. There's also the question of what he said to Comey when Comey was still the FBI director. So there's more than just the fact that he fired Comey.
Chris, let me be clear. You asked me a question about what the president's tweet was regarding the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. That's what you asked me. And I responded to what that legal theory would be. So I do not appreciate you putting words in my mouth when I've been crystal clear that the president is not and has not been under investigation. I don't think I could be any clearer than that.
Well, you don't know that he's not under investigation again, sir. I mean,
I cannot read the mind. You're right, Chris. I can't read the mind of the special prosecutor.
So we're in agreement. You don't know whether he's under. You don't know whether he's under investigation. You don't know whether he's under investigation or not. Question I'm asking you is: does he think that Rod Rosenstein? It's a very simple question. Does he think that Rod Rosenstein did anything wrong?
The president has not expressed any opinion about Rod Rosenstein.
Does he think that Robert Mueller has done anything wrong?
First of all, he has not said anything about Robert Mueller. And Chris, let me say something here. You're asking me if I had a conversation, which I have not had, about Robert Mueller with the President of the United States, or anyone else for that matter. I can't discuss that and would not discuss that with you. Unlike James Comey, who leaks information to the press, I actually respect the attorney-client privilege. Apparently he did not.
Does the president believe, well, you're speaking for his legal team, so you're out here to represent him and tell us what the president's belief is that correct?
No, I'm up here to tell you what the facts are and the legal issues are. I'm not to tell you what the beliefs are. I'm not the client's conscience. I'm his lawyer.
I understand that. Have you spoken to the president at all?
Yes, but I'm not going to discuss those conversations with you. Those are privileged under the attorney-client privilege.
Well, I assume that if he asked you to say something, for instance, Mark Kasowitz said all kinds of things about after Comey's testimony. I assume he was speaking for the president.
Mark Kasowitz made a general statement to the press after the testimony of James Comey. That's what that was about. You're asking me now questions about what people are thinking in their minds, which I don't read minds, and you're asking me also what I may or may not have had a conversation with the president about, and you understand this. I respect the attorney-client privilege, unlike James Comey. So I want to be real clear on that, too. I'm not going to give you conversations I've had, have or have not had with the President of the United States. So when I have a conversation with the President of the United States, as his lawyer, it's for privilege, period.
Does the president think that Rosenstein, because you talked about this constitutional theory that he took action on the advice, although he says he didn't take it on the advice of Rosenstein, does he think that Rosenstein should recuse himself, and is he laying the groundwork to fire Rosenstein and Mueller?
I've had no conversations, and I've heard nothing about that at all. Nothing. I think this, Chris, this points out, let me tell you one thing quickly about the constitutional theory, as you called it. It's actually called the Constitution. You know, the president has certain plenary authority.
I think you call it the constitutional theory, sir.
Yeah, it is a constitutional theory based on the Constitution.
I understand that.
Not so-called. It's the constitutional theory. It's part of the Constitution. President has inherent authority. Here's what you're trying to do, Chris, and I appreciate it.
Now you're reading minds again. Now you're reading minds again.
No, Chris. I deal with fact and law.
Well, then don't tell me what I'm trying. Don't tell me what I'm trying to do, because you don't know what I'm trying to do. Actually, what I'm trying to get is a straight answer out of you. Let me ask you this: as a matter of law, does the president think that he can be indicted under the Constitution?
The president. I haven't had that conversation with the president, but the president can't be indicted under the Constitution for the activities alleged in something like this. Of course not.
Why is that?
Because there's not an investigation. And there's,
you don't know whether there's
oh
boy, this is weird. You don't know that whether there's an investigation. You just told us
Chris,
that.
You're asking me to so then what you're asking me to do is
and it wouldn't matter. I'm asking you as a matter of law, not whether there's an investigation. Does the president think he can be indicted as president? That's a constitutional issue, isn't it?
For obstruction of justice? No,
for any issue.
The Constitution's. Now, Chris, you know, let's be realistic here. You know what the answer is. Can presidents be indicted for obstruction? You know what the position has been to the Department of Justice since the 1970s and again stated in 2000. That's not how you engage a president. There's a political process if somebody did something wrong. You're conflating a constitutional process, criminal law, with a issue of political consequence. So I am his lawyer. I'm not his political advisor.
Senator Dianne Feinstein, the top Democrat on this